I have a building that now has vacant space and I'm going to get into the co-working game. What does it take to run a good co-working space? How difficult is it? Because I've been in some and it doesn't look that difficult. Is that true? Or is all the magic kind of behind the scenes? So in the next couple of minutes, we'll talk about what does it really take to run a good center, stand one up, get it going, build momentum, keep people happy. And then you can decide, is this something you want to tackle? Do you have the skills in-house? Do you want to bring them in-house? Or do you want to partner with an experienced operator that does this all the time and makes it look easy? All right, so I own a building, and tenant said, 6 months ago, when our term is up, we're going to leave the building. Okay, I've got 3 months until they're out. I've got no prospects to take the 25,000 foot floor, and I've heard all about this flexible stuff, co-working stuff. That may be the solution, right? All the smart people are saying you should, good buildings should have this in their building. So I'm going to figure out, am I going to do it myself or am I going to hire somebody? So from an operator standpoint, let me tell you, building owner or asset manager, what does it really take to run a co-working center? What are the things the must-haves, the nice-to-haves, and the I can't afford those, right? So there's kind of two buckets. The first bucket is, hey, I've got to get some things in here just to let me run a center. I need some sort of technology backbone. And there's a couple of companies in the industry that supply hardware, fiber, access points, all that stuff. So you can call a couple of them. They'll come do a little heat map of your space. They'll make suggestions on what components you need, and they'll give you options. Do you want to pay cash? Do you want to lease it? Do you want to buy out? 36-month lease with $1 buyout. And then who's going to monitor that? Who do I call if the internet's down? Who do I call if it's slow? Who do I call if I don't know what I'm doing? Again, there's a couple companies that do that. Or plan B, you can put it all together yourself. If you've got a tech group that works for you or part of your staffing, you can piece together your own internet package. Now, little tiny things you need to consider are uptime, security. Do you have a fail-safe system? Do you have a spillover? Do you have a second internet connection? Where do I get that? How much does that cost? Who are the best providers? How do I find all that, right? If you've never done that before, a little bit of a headache, right? So you figure that out. Next step is, how am I going to run this thing? Do I need software? Am I going to just use a pen and a pad and QuickBooks? Is there off-the-shelf stuff that I can put on top of my hardware system to say, okay, I can do billing, onboarding, I can make payables, I can run reports, I can invoice people. Where do I start looking at that, right? Building owner, you might not know because this is not your world, right? Good operator, they probably have, a good operator will have the same systems at every location. So it's a lot easier for a good operator to have kind of homogeneous parts. So when they scale, it's easier. When they replace people, it's easier. So that comes with a good operator. Who's going to staff it? And we've talked about in previous conversations, there's a community director or director of membership, or there's someone that is responsible for running that facility on a day-to-day basis. And we've talked about how important that person is. They have to be authentic. They have to understand budgets. They have to be able to do some sales. They have to be cordial. They have to create a professional environment, right? It's not a unique skill set, but there is a skill set that is preferred in our industry where people just tend to do better than not. So where are you going to get that person, right? Are they internal? And we're just going to ask, hey, Joe, change your job and start running this co-working center? Or are we going to hire someone? Or are we going to train someone? Right. So those are the three largest pieces. And then you get into kind of the second stack, right? How am I going to create some community? How am I going to make sure members get to meet each other? Am I going to have a food and beverage component? Am I going to have it on a regular basis? Where am I going to get that? Who's going to buy it? Who's going to go get it? Who's going to take care of it? Who's going to set it up? Who's going to clean it up? Who's going to make sure we're getting everything the members want, not just the snacks that I like because I own the building? That in itself can be a nightmare for a big center with a lot of people. How do you keep everybody happy? We touched on it a little bit on the community side. So I want to make sure everybody's comfortable. I want to make sure everybody gets to know as many people as they want to know. There are some folks that don't really want to come out of their office and do that. But how am I going to do it? Are we going to have a happy hour every Thursday? Is my place am I gonna provide any alcoholic beverages, right? That's a huge decision to make. What are the rules around that? Who's gonna monitor that? Who's gonna be the, hey, you've had enough drink police? Am I gonna have breakfasts? Are we gonna do holiday events? Or which holidays, right? And when and how? So creating and defining how your place operates and to what level of success, a whole nother skill level. And then there's just the nuts and bolts, a printer. Where do I get it? How do I pay for it? How do I make sure it works? Where do I get paper? Where do I get office supplies? How do I know if my phone works? How do I transfer a call? It just gets more and more minutia, right? Who's going to do your marketing? How do you market flexible office space? Do you just put it on CoStar and hope a broker sees it and calls you? What is SEO? What's pay-per-click? What's Google? What's Google My Business? How important are reviews? How do I get feedback on how all of this is happening? What is AI? What the hell is AI doing in our industry that can help make me better or worse? And the list goes on and on. So when you're faced with the decision, hey, I've got some space coming back. I know I've got lead time. I think I might want to dip my toe into this. You really need to sit down and think, all right, do we have the means? Do we have the patience? Do we have the expertise? What really goes into running a good space? And do I really want to get into that world? Am I going to do it in one building? Am I going to do it in all my buildings? If you look at the top end of commercial real estate, some of the really large REITs are really committed to this as an internal expertise after COVID, when work from anywhere and all that stuff became really popular. You can ask, it's hard. I know all the biggest companies that are doing this with different levels of success, with different levels of capital sunk into this with different results. The beauty of a good operator, if you go visit a space that's managed by an experienced operator that does a good job, you're going to walk in there and go, this isn't that hard, right? And it's supposed to feel that way. But don't be fooled, because if you go back to your office and grab a pen and a piece of paper and say, all right, I'm going to write all this out and I'm going to do this step by step. Launch Workplaces, we have an opening checklist. It takes 90 days to open a location, and we have over 240 tasks that need to be accomplished just to get it open. And then we follow through on how do you run it in the proper way. It's wonderful that good operators make it look good. It's like professional athletes. You're like, man, I could hit a golf ball. I mean, look, that doesn't look that hard, right? I can swim 25 meters in 20 seconds or whatever. That doesn't look that hard. I can ride a bike. When people do things well, it's supposed to look easy. So I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying do your homework. Don't be fooled. It's not always as easy as we make it look. If you want to learn more about this or any other topics, check out our website, launchworkplaces.com/landlords. Download our ebook, dozens of little snippets and articles and more detailed information on things we've talked about, things we haven't talked about. Check out previous episodes. We've got a nice little library being built up on things that we've covered so far. And as always, you can always reach out on LinkedIn, ask me any questions. I'm happy to help people out. But eyes wide open, it's just not as simple as we make it look.